How's it going, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of the Mavs Step Back Podcast. I'm your host, Dalton Trigg. I'm joined by my co-host, Drew Johnson. As always, you can find us on X at Dalton_Trigg, at Coach Drew 33. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. And as we've been saying the last few pods, if you want to go ahead and sign up for free for our new Substack that's coming in January, we will be posting our written work over there. Here's the QR code. If you want to take your phone out, get that, put your email in. It'll send you every single update we do at Mavs Step Back, all of our written work. So if you're interested in that, again, it's free. Go sign up for it. We're going to do our best to bring you the best content we possibly can, not just on the pod, but in written form too. So, DJ, after the Mavs laid an egg on Christmas, and it wasn't all their fault, but it was mostly their fault. And then to add insult to injury, or injury to insult, Luka strained his calf, and he is out for at least a month now. The MRI results were obviously not great on his strained calf. And it didn't say he was out for a month. It said he would be reevaluated in a month. So basically what we need to do is just kind of look forward to seeing Luka after the All-Star break is what I'm thinking, which is fine. I mean, this Mavs team is built for stuff like this. Now we talked about it on the last pod that, that's why you have the depth that you have. Nico went out there and made sure that if the Mavs do have injury situations like this throughout the regular season, they're not just dead in the water. So how did the Mavs respond to that Christmas Day dud? They came out and they beat the Phoenix Suns on the road 98-89. They held the Suns, who average 113 points per game, to 89 points. Now, the Phoenix Suns, they did not have Devin Booker in this game, but the Mavs didn't have Luka. They didn't have Derek Lively. And the biggest story from this game, DJ, is three players getting ejected. Yusuf Nurkic, who was playing in his feels all game, he looked like he was emotionally unhinged, and it was just getting to a boiling point in the third quarter. He tried to bulldoze Daniel Gafford, got called for an offensive foul. Naji Marshall said something about the offensive foul because it was overly aggressive. Like, it was way too much. Nurkic was just trying way too hard. Nurkic didn't like what Naji had to say and slapped Naji upside the face. And in bro code, that's instant cause for hands to be thrown. Yep. I get it. It's like, okay, well, he shouldn't have done it. Look, if that happens, you're throwing hands. You're not going to slap a grown man upside his head and not expect to get a punch thrown at you. So Naji retaliated. He threw a punch at Nurkic. PJ Washington got involved, shoved Nurkic to the ground. And as a result, Nurkic, Naji, and PJ were all ejected, which is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion that PJ was ejected. I can say, it's warm. If you throw a punch, you're automatically ejected. So no complaints there. Naji did what he had to do. He got kicked out. He may even be suspended for another game. So
he will be, yeah.
So, that is what it is. PJ, I thought that was super, super soft on the officials' end. And if you're watching on YouTube, we're going to show you the interaction between Naji and Nurkic. And you can very hilariously see Kyrie Irving's reaction in the background to the slap and the punch being thrown. But yeah, man, like I said, you can't do that if you're Nurkic. That's completely unhinged. Naji was well within his right to do what he did, even though he's going to pay the price for it now. But he was just standing up for his teammate Gafford. Nurkic thought he was going to punk Gafford, and he couldn't. And this is one of the reasons why the Suns are actively trying to get rid of Nurkic. So it was Bush League stuff by him. I'm super glad the Mavs pulled through and got the win despite all those antics that went on. But man, what are your thoughts on the scuffle? It was certainly better than what we saw from Mike Tyson and Jake Paul.
I mean, man, Naji kind of throws a pretty good hook there, dude. Like that's pretty solid. But not only was Naji well within his rights as far as bro code is concerned, I thought that PJ was as well. Whenever someone goes after your teammate like that, and make no mistake, Nurkic threw the first shot. Uh, as a teammate, you've got to step up for your guy. You gotta step in there. And even though it led to an ejection, as a coach, I'm not upset with this at all, because this is exactly what you teach your guys to do on a daily basis, to have each other's backs. And I thought that was epitomized tonight in this scuffle. This is an unfortunate part of the game of contact sports. You're going to get a lot of high level testosterone guys, close together, and sometimes physical things will happen. So overall, Nurkic is quickly getting on my Rudy Gobert list, and you can probably guess what the name of that list is. I don't know. I
The
think that
dickhead list.
yeah, that one. I think that Nurkic is probably what you saw from him tonight. Those actions was probably a result of him basically living on the trade block this season, and it's got to be stressful for a guy. But you hate to
Well,
see him out like
and
that.
and look, Nurkic was awful in this game for
Yeah.
Phoenix. We're talking in the third quarter, and he had 3 points, 5 rebounds, and he was 1 of 4, shooting. The only shot he made was a corner 3 that, it seemed like God himself came in there and said, "Damn, here, take it." Like, fine, just take it. But he was not having a good game, and the Mavs bench was letting him know. They were letting him know. And Nurkic, look, in 14 minutes as a starter, Nurkic not only just had 3 points and was 1 of 4 shooting, he had 4 turnovers. He had more turnovers than points, and almost had more turnovers than he had rebounds. So, just an awful game from him. And like I said, he was awful up until that point. The Mavs bench was letting him know about it. Gafford was getting physical, and Nurkic wasn't liking it. And then it finally came to a head. And I hated that PJ got ejected, because look, if PJ doesn't push Nurkic to the ground, that scrum probably ends up worse than what it was. And one of Nurkic's teammates, I forget which one it was, but he was pulling Nurkic to the ground anyway. So the PJ shove was kind of exaggerated, because one of his son's teammates was pulling Nurkic to the ground too. So I didn't think PJ should have been ejected. The Mavs were obviously a little more shook than the Suns were for the immediate, resume of play after that, but they pulled it together. The Suns won the third quarter 25-17. The Mavs won every other quarter in the game. So shout out to the Mavs. Great overall team performance. It's so satisfying that after all that, and PJ shouldn't have been ejected, that they still came out and got the win, and they held the Suns to under 90 points, which is pretty insane. Mavs, they have pretty good defense, and they improved to 20-11 overall, and they're 10-6 on the road. So they're equally as good at home as they are on the road.
And they're now 7-2 without Luka.
7-2 without Luka Doncic. Pretty crazy. I mean, it's good. Now look, Luka hasn't been 100% right for the majority of the time. He's been on the floor, but for the majority of the time he's been on the floor, especially early on in the season, he hasn't been right. So if you have 100% healthy Luka, it's a different story. But I would argue that this team is better. Well, I'll say this. They're a much better defensive team when an unhealthy Luka isn't playing, if that's fair. You can't say they're better without Luka because Luka is just it's blasphemy to say that. But I will say when Luka is not at 100%, this team seems to be much, much better, especially on the defensive end. They're completely locked in. There's hardly any breaks in the chain, so to speak. And you saw the results tonight. So it sucks to lose Luka for at least a month, but it'll be great to have him recoup and hopefully come back completely healthy to make a playoff push and hopefully be fully healthy for the playoffs. So, we'll see how it goes. But overall, I want to talk about some of these performances tonight. Mavs had 5 guys in double figures. Kyrie led the way with 20 points.
He was outstanding at the beginning of the game.
Oh yeah, he came out guns blazing at the start of the game. Now look, you saw it in that fight clip that we showed you. He was shocked by what was going on. Kyrie's zen was all messed up after the scuffle. He couldn't get anything to fall at the rim. He was missing open shots. Even he was trying to do contested fadeaway shots, couldn't hit anything. I think if I remember seeing this stat right, he was like 1 of 11 on twos tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 1 of 11 on 2-pointers. So, he was not good in that last stretch after the scrum happened, but he still ended up being the Mavs leading scorer with 20 points, had 5 assists, 4 rebounds, a steal. Daniel Gafford was awesome. 16 points, 5 rebounds, 7 of 11 shooting. Klay Thompson only had 11 points, but man, did he have a couple of massive buckets in that fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. Just when you thought the Suns were gaining some momentum, here comes Captain Klay hitting some clutch buckets. So shout out to him. And he did a lot more than just, hit those clutch buckets. He had 6 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, a block. He was great. So, and then off the bench, Spencer Dinwiddie as the team's, secondary ball handler now with Luka out, 15 points, 3 assists, 2 steals, also had 3 rebounds, only shot 5 of 12 from the floor, but he did have a couple of big buckets in that fourth quarter as well. And then the most surprising of the 5 double-digit scorers, Maxi Kleber, who I will give him my apology for this game. And I reserve the right to have a disclaimer that I will take this back if he is asked tomorrow night, because nobody can say that our criticism of Kleber hasn't been fair. It's been fair.
I'm not sorry for shit. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not. Yeah, he had a good game tonight. Awesome. That means his stock is higher than ever, and we should look to trade him immediately. I'm sorry, guys. That was disrespectful. Maxie had a good night. We'll just leave it at that.
Look, I
don't apologize for anything.
I'm just saying, even if you're a Maxi truther, you can't say that the criticism of how he's played up to this point hasn't been warranted. It has been. And I told you, I said, even if he has a game like this, a random game like this that, ends up, he almost helped the Mavs win or make a comeback in that last game, but, they just couldn't pull it off on Christmas. They couldn't come back all the way from down 28 points, but I don't know. The criticism has been warranted, but I just want to give him his flowers because this is the first time in a long time where it wasn't just like one little spurt of good play. He had a fantastic game. We've been talking about how he has to give you something offensively to, it's one thing to be solid defensively, but if you're allowing, the other team to have a 4-on-5 advantage on the other end because you don't do anything offensively, you're not accomplishing anything. So I thought he did a good job of being more than a 0 on offense tonight. That
Jumper looked a lot better at
yeah,
times. I will say that. It looked a lot better, a lot cleaner, looked a lot less painful, dare I say, because oftentimes it just looks like he's in pain whenever he's hoisting jumpers. So,
yeah.
whatever they gave him in that training room, need to give him some more of that because
Yeah.
he looked a lot more mobile and
Oh,
fluid.
yeah. He was looking pretty springy out there. 15 points. He had a team high 7 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, 5 of 7 from the floor in
He dunked on
26
Bradley
minutes.
Beal. It was great.
Man, 40 million a year Bradley Beal gets outscored by Maxi Kleba. Crazy in 12 less minutes of play.
To be fair though, I hate to be the Debbie Downer, but this is the most we've seen out of Maxi Kleber since probably last year's playoff win, whenever he went off.
Yeah, Clippers was it,
I think it was the Clippers.
yeah, I think it was Clippers on the road. That game, I think it was that game 5 if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, look, shout out to Maxi. I hope he keeps it up. I'm not going to get too happy. I'm not going to get too high, too low, all that stuff, because we know how this goes.
Yep.
Maxi Kleba, his volatility, I guess, is what we'd say. He's kind of like cryptocurrency.
It's worse than that. It's worse.
That's just what you get with him. But every now and then, you get one of these ups, and hopefully he can keep it up because man, the Mavs are going to need it for the next month. But okay, so a lot of good stuff tonight. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come back on the other side, and I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions, a couple of quiz questions first from this game. Don't look at the box score. Don't cheat.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk about another couple of key performances that I personally thought flew under the radar in this one. So stick with us. We'll be right back. What's up, y'all? We're taking a quick break to tell you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Want to play Prize Picks alongside Drewski, Joe Budden, and MMA champ Sugar Sean O'Malley? You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the Prize Picks community each week. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code STEPBACK to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code STEPBACK on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. All right, so we have a few more things we're going to jump into, but before we do that, my guy Kirk Henderson, friend of the show, friend of ours we talk to quite often, he posted this still shot of that brawl on X. I'm going to share it here on our screen.
Ooh, nice shot.
Yeah, he didn't connect as much as or as solidly as we would have liked him to, but he definitely made contact.
Listen, man, with that straight, had he connected as well as I'd wanted him to, Nurkic would have been out on a stretcher. That guy can throw.
Yeah.
Naji's clearly been in some scuffles.
Yeah. Public enemy #1, Yusuf Nurkic going forward. So, and man,
how on a t-shirt?
Yeah. We should put that on a t-shirt. Why not? Add to the collection. Man, it's pretty crazy how, some of these rivalries over the years find a way to like rekindle, even though, players from those specific teams aren't there anymore. This game, obviously you had the Dirk versus Nash Suns after Nash left the Mavs and went to the Suns and won multiple MVPs. Then you have Luka versus the Suns. That was rekindled in 2022 when he went into Phoenix and, killed all their hopes and dreams with a 30-point game that was over by halftime. And then now, in this game, you have Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, former teammates. Luka and Devin Booker aren't even involved in this one, and you still get the fireworks with other players. So I don't know, man. There's something about Mavs-Suns. It's always a time. So
It's always heated.
I'm happy that it's like that, though. The NBA needs to continue to have, rivalries. Like, we're starting to see something, a budding rivalry like that between OKC and Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
So you're starting to see a little bit more of that around the league, and I love it. I mean, it's great for the product. Okay, so a couple other performances I wanted to talk about tonight. Even though Maxey was great in this game, Omax Prosper in his 6 minutes played once again showed how he can be an effective rotation player for the Mavs going forward if he gets the minutes. It was only 6 minutes, and he only had 2 points, and he only had 1 rebound. Only got up 2 shots. He was 1 of 2. But man, his defense was unbelievable. The box score says he doesn't have any steals for this. Oh yeah, it does. It says he has 1. I counted about 3. Just from him causing deflections and stuff like he may not have got the ball and got credited officially for having the steals, but in 6 minutes he caused a lot of chaos. And I don't know if you remember that 6 minute stretch or not, but I thought he showed something just like he has the last several times he's gotten a chance to play. What do you think about Omax tonight?
Well, 2 things stood out to me during his 6 minutes. Number one, the guy can kick it into an extra gear as far as straight line sprints are concerned, because he got down the floor on a fast break for a finish faster than than most people his size could. Like that, it was
Long strides.
unreal. I mean, he was just there. Like he got there. It was Giannis like. He just got
I was
there.
about to say he looked like Giannis on that fast break with those long strides he was taking.
Yeah, it was nuts. And the ability to cover ground like that, it's another, and it kind of leads into my second thing that really stood out to me. There was a play, it was kind of like in a mid break where Phoenix was trying to, actually no, it was late in the shot clock. Phoenix was trying to score, and he picked up the drive. The drive kicked out to the corner. He switched out onto the corner and then slid with him and pretty much forced a shot clock violation.
Yep.
He slid out there, took away the 3, and I think it may have been Royce O'Neal who's mainly looking to take those threes, and it forced him off. It ran him off the 3-point line, and it forced a shot clock violation. So, no, you want to talk about making the most of your minutes? I felt like that Omax did that today, and if Kleber starts going back under, I think we've waited too long on it anyway. But hopefully, Kidd will see the light on it and give him those minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you're gonna play him and not worry about taking somebody else's minutes, now is the time to experiment and do that with Luka being out for over a month. And especially games like look, it wasn't just Luka out tonight. Derek Lively was out tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And then you lose PJ Washington and Naji Marshall in the third quarter. So severely shorthanded. If Kidd would have opted to play Omax, 15 minutes tonight, it would have been, well warranted in my opinion. Especially you got a guy like Grimes who played 29 minutes. And look, Grimes has been great this season. I thought he got a little too far over his skis a few times, especially toward the end of this game. But he got 29 minutes off the bench. So I think Kidd can evenly distribute some of these minutes a little bit better and get Omax out there, because from what we've seen, DJ, I'm not going to hype him and say he's going to be the next second coming of LeBron James. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying when he's out there, good things happen. And that's what you want, especially when you're trying to muck things up defensively and grind out wins without your best player. So,
Well, he should get some more burn in this upcoming game because, both PJ and Naji are about to be out.
I don't think PJ will get suspended. Najee's 100% out though.
Oh, see, I thought it was if you got ejected, you were automatically handed a 1-game suspension.
No, you're automatically ejected for throwing the punch. So,
Okay.
that's why Najee's going to be out.
Okay. I wasn't sure if the ejection led to suspension or not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll review it, but I fully expect PJ to be back in Portland tomorrow night. But yeah, Najee, that's the auto suspension is throwing the punch. So it's okay, Najee. Just get you some rest and come back in the next game. But I think tomorrow night will be a great chance for Jaden Hardy to dust off his sneakers because Kidd had said that he was going to get Hardy was going to get a chance to play tonight, and in typical Kidd fashion, Hardy ended up playing 1 minute of garbage time at the very end of the game.
Yep.
So on the second night of a back-to-back in Portland, after a grind of a game that this game was, I wouldn't be shocked to see Jaden Hardy out there getting buckets in Portland tomorrow night. So we'll see. But I mean, what do you think about Hardy and what Kidd said versus what actually happened?
It was interesting because he actually said something to him like right after the game ended. There was like a little quick snippet of them together, and he was telling him something. I don't know if it was actually something having to do with what happened on the floor. I doubt it because at that point nothing was happening. But it kind of makes me think that he told him, yeah, maybe I screwed up here tonight because maybe he just forgot. I don't know. It's possible.
I don't know, man. Like I said, 29 minutes for Grimes off the bench, and he didn't have his best game, in my opinion. He could have – you can't tell me that Hardy couldn't have been thrown in there for 10 minutes just to see what happened, because especially in a game where every bucket felt massive, there was just such a lack of scoring. There was a point in that fourth quarter where the Suns cut it to 6, I believe. And then Clay came back down the floor. We were well past the halfway point of the fourth quarter, and Clay hit a 3 to put the Mavs up by 9 with around 5 minutes, I think, or a little less than 5 minutes. And it felt like that was the dagger because the defense was just so good for the majority of the game on both ends. So, I mean, I don't know. I thought Hardy could have gotten a few more minutes, but, as long as the Mavs get the win, that's all that matters. We're not here to nitpick over a few minutes here or there.
That's true. And also the thing about Hardy,
Excuse me.
you can pretty much tell what kind of game you're going to get from him within the first 2 to 3 minutes that he's out there. So if you are going to play Hardy, see what you got for the day. Throw him out there for about 2 or 3 minutes straight. See what he does. That'll probably tell you all you need to know.
And I get the sense, and I mean I don't know this for sure, but I just get the sense by reading the room a little bit. There were a couple of plays, good Mavs plays that got the Mavs bench off their seats. But Hardy, he didn't really look like he was celebrating much and just kind of down in the dumps. So, I feel like this lack of playing time is starting to affect him a little bit. He's a young player. He's high on himself. He made those comments before the season about he wanted to be a 6th man of the year candidate, which, he was got a little too much dip on his chip there. He should have never said that, but, it does make him look silly when he can't even get off the pine in a game where the Mavs were missing so many different players, and then he only gets 1 minute of junk time at the end. So, I mean, I get the frustration, but, it's one of those things where something's going to have to give at some point. He may not be traded this season just because he recently signed that extension and he's got that poison pill provision It makes it really hard to work out a trade when that happens because one side is receiving a different amount than the other. But, if he didn't have that poison pill provision, I'd almost guarantee that he would be traded before this trade deadline. And if not, when this offseason, if the Mavs don't trade Maxey, for example, this offseason when Maxey's an expiring contract and there's no poison pill provision for Hardy, I could 100% see, a trade package going out somewhere for something that involves those two players. So we'll have to see how the rest of the season plays out. But I mean, man, what a great grind out win for the Mavs, bouncing back from that very disappointing Christmas Day game in more ways than one. Like, not only do you lose the game and you couldn't pull off the near comeback from down 28, but then you lose Luka for more than a month. Like, and you possibly lose Derek Lively for a couple games too with like a hip contusion, I think is what it was.
Hip contusion.
Which is honestly better than, in seeing it live, it looked like he got, hit in the knee bend. So I was worried about that. And then it said hip contusion. Like, oh, okay. Well, thank God it's not a knee injury for D-Live. So, well, guys, look, that pretty much does it for this game. We're very happy the Mavs got back on track. We're going to cut it a little short tonight because, we're probably going to be back on here tomorrow night. Second night of a back-to-back, post Christmas, still trying to get our bearings together. I don't know about y'all, but I'm ready to, chill out for a little bit from now until New Year's. But we appreciate it. Y'all be sure to go like, rate, and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts for a chance to win future giveaways. And go sign up for our Substack that we're going to be starting officially in January. Again, here's the QR code. Just take your camera out. It'll take you to the link. It's free. Put in your email address, and you will never miss anything we publish on our Mavs Step Back Substack. Guys, we appreciate it. Y'all have a great rest of your night. Enjoy these times. This Mavs team is very good. They're going through some trials and tribulations, but they're very deep. They're very talented. They know how to play some defense, and that's what you need to have a true championship contender. So enjoy it. We're in the golden age right now. Y'all have a good one.